Hello and welcome to A Little Crafting. My name is Annie and I am recording this from Surrey in the south east of the UK, slightly southwest of London, which is where I live with my husband and my cat. This is my bi-weekly podcast where I usually talk about knitting, but I also talk about sewing, weaving and anything else that I happen to have been doing in the last couple of weeks. You can find me on Instagram as a_little_crafting and on Ravelry as Ankiwoo. And today is Sunday the 7th of November. As you can tell from what I am wearing, I have got my lovely hand knits out for the winter season. This one in particular is the Arboreal by Jennifer Steingass, and I knit this one out of West Yorkshire Spinners Wensleydale Gems, I think it was. And whilst I do love this sweater and the way that it looks, it pills like crazy, and to be honest it was pilling almost before I started wearing it, so I tend to just fluff all over the place. So as I wear this sweater there's just orange fluff absolutely everywhere, which is a shame really, because I feel like I would wear it more if it didn't do that, because I love the design and the shape so much. So I'll stand up and just show you what it's like. So yeah, you can see the pills already, especially under my arm, but it's constant pretty much. But I do absolutely love this leaf design. I love the colour. The only annoying thing is just how much this gives off fluff onto everything. But yeah, if anyone has any tips on how to stop that from happening, actually that would be amazing, and then maybe I can wear this one a little bit more. I am also very tempted to knit another one of these at some point, but I do have a lot of Jen Steingass patterns already that I need to get through before I repeat one. I've knit this one, so this is the Arboreal, and also the Wintersol sweater of her patterns, and absolutely love her colourwork yokes. But I'll have to knit something else before I come back to this. I think I have a few queued up. So let's get started with what I've been making more recently. So moving on to works in progress. And the first one is a hat. Oops, losing the yarn there. So this one is the Towards North hat by Asita Krebs, which is a free pattern on Ravelry at the moment. It has a twisted rib on the bottom that is doubled, and then this lovely slip stitch detail all the way up the hat itself, which I think looks really lovely. Something that I have changed though on this versus the pattern is that she actually, when she joins up the double brim like I've done here, she puts a Vical braid across the centre to kind of create a sort of seam effect. I prefer it to be a bit more seamless, so I decided to just join the kind of two ends together and then carry on knitting rather than creating that Vical braid. I don't know what yarn this is. It's a tweed yarn that I picked up in a local yarn shop in Dorset that I believe was either dyed or spun by a local maker to that shop. But I don't know what it is as I don't have the label anymore. It feels like superwash yarn to me. So it's just a kind of natural tweed colour, but it is really nice looking. It's just one of those yarns that I'm not sure I would actually wear myself, so I thought I'd use this for one of my hats for this year and maybe donate this in a couple of weeks or when I can. I'll talk a bit more about what's happening with the hats that I've been making later on in this episode. So that is WIP number 1, and I think I'll have that finished by this evening. Unfortunately, I haven't got any finished objects this week because I didn't manage to finish that yet, but I will be cracking on with some more things very soon, and then hopefully have a couple more to show you in 2 weeks. So moving on to the next thing that I've been making, and if you watched last week's episode, most of these will be exactly the same because I haven't moved on very much from them. But the first one is my husband's jumper. So this is the Cotswold Henley by Meghan Babbin, and it is knit in Dererum, Natura, Gilliatt, in the, can't remember the green colour yarn and name, let me double check. So it is knit in the Cedre colourway. So this is the yarn itself. You get this lovely kind of mottled green colour. And I am not massively far, but I'm getting there, if you see what I mean. So this is where I am with the pattern at the moment. Do a bit of a close-up so you can see the lovely textures, which is actually one of the reasons I picked this, because it's not a plain knit Henley sweater. It's got these lovely textured details, and it's got them in sections. So you've got the sides of the sweater have this kind of rib, and then the centre has a kind of basket weave effect. I don't know if it's blowing out too much for you to be able to see that, but hopefully you get the idea. The colour is much more realistic when I pull it back here, so I'm hoping it's going to be absolutely lovely. Obviously texture detail does take a bit longer than a simple knit stitch, but it is also more interesting for me. I think I knit quite a lot of things with just simple knit, especially the hats that I've been making more recently. So actually something with texture is nice and challenging, and I like something to have to kind of pay attention on, keep looking at and checking that I'm doing the right thing, just because I don't get bored basically. But I'm really loving this way this is turning out. I did check this against one of my husband's actual jumpers, and it should be a perfect size, so let's hope it doesn't grow too much. It shouldn't, in my experience with Gilliatt, or at least not sideways, more lengthways. So fingers crossed it will be perfect for my husband. Probably for Christmas, I'm thinking, is going to be the plan. So I'm aiming to have this done by then. I'll see what happens. Obviously at the moment it is quite simple in terms of like the structure. I'm just knitting up the body, and then once I get to the sleeves I will have to split the jumper in two to knit the front portion and then the back portion separately, and then knit the sleeves. So I think that will require me to be sitting down and reading a lot of the pattern whilst I'm going ahead with that. But yeah, so far I think it looks really good, and I'm definitely going to be cracking on with that over the next couple of weeks. I'm using my usual Circulars Higher Sharp interchangeable set, and I am knitting this one on 4mm needles for the body of the sweater, and this is Gilliatt, which is a kind of Aran to worsted weight yarn, from what I can gather. But it's because it is organic merino and it's non-superwash, it will kind of fluff out, I suppose, when it gets washed. So it doesn't kind of just stretch, it kind of blends nicely, which is lovely. So there I am with that so far. So I don't know how many inches I've done, maybe 1, 2, 3, 4, maybe 5 inches of the sweater, so a way to go. But I'm sure I'll be able to progress with that fairly quickly. I am keeping this one along with some other bits in my Antler and Acorn bag, which I keep showing on this episode, and I love the lion on the front, and I'll link to her Etsy shop in the description below, although I think she's on a break at the moment. But I love that bag for the size, for a sweater project, it's great. So next up is my Humlebi shawl, which I'm sure I will never get the name of right. and this is one I started before last week's episode. So I will show you where I am now. And I've been making quite a bit of progress, but part of that is because I'm now on the garter stitch section. So like I said last time, this is a shawl that is worked from the longest end to the shortest. It is a triangular shawl, but you do the outside triangle first and then work inwards. I am knitting this on my own hand-dyed yarn in a kind of gold that went wrong colour, on a DK non-superwash merino, which I order from yarnundyed.net, which is AC Woods in the UK. So I am starting to get quite far on this. Apologies, I can't show you the whole thing because I'm on some quite short needles, but you could see how the design is progressing. So you've got the little bees and the little flowers, and then it switches to a garter section for the rest of the shawl itself. So yeah, I mean, I've decreased quite a bit, I suppose. That's the decrease section along the edge. Give you that. Have a look at that. I love these little kind of peaks underneath the bees, but I also think the bees just look absolutely fantastic. I have a lot of friends who were interested in trying to knit these for other project designs because they are very, very simple and yet look very, very effective, and you immediately can tell that they're bees. So yeah, getting on nicely with that one. I'll just show you the centre point because it has this lovely line in the middle, and the two bees either side. Okay, so that's the middle. So if you were making kind of a V-shaped cowl, you might have something like that on there. There you go. So yeah, it's looking great. Again, I did have that kind of discussion with myself about whether I should dye over this yarn to make it more honey coloured like that one there, but I'm not sure. I'll see what happens when I've finished the shawl. I am also a little bit concerned that I will run out of yarn before the end, but I'll finish it off in something else, either something that I've got that's similar or something that's totally different, maybe a dark yarn like a black, because I'm thinking that will offset nicely with the bees, and the kind of golden honey coloured yellow there. And this is just flying. I really am enjoying this project a lot, and definitely enjoying the yarn. I keep pausing to look at the bees because I think they look so great. So I'm gonna also have to use them maybe in some other projects. I was thinking of making some coasters for people for Christmas, and I could have a bee on each corner of the coaster somehow. I'd have to figure out how to do that, but they are just a fantastic little creation. I don't know if Lega of Fibre Tales actually designed this way of making bees or not, but either way, well done. They look great. Yeah, and this shawl is a Fibre Tales pattern. Again, links are in the description below. So yeah, cracking on with that as well, and I've kind of been jumping around between projects so far in the last week, so I don't really have much else to show you. I have done 6 rows on my Stephen West star blanket, and that's taken me a while but at least I'm getting somewhere with that. So I didn't think I would show you this week, but maybe next time I'll show you if I've moved on to another section or not. We'll see how I get on with that. My husband keeps joking to himself and saying, "Oh, my wife's promised to make me this lovely blanket," when we're sitting there feeling cold. And I said to him, you know, it's not going to happen that quickly. So I feel like I'm disappointing him a little bit by not working on it all the time. But he's getting a sweater as well, so, you know, that should keep him warm. yeah, so that is all I've really been working on in the last week, but I hope that's nice to find out about anyway. I have got some other things to show you though. So I have acquisitions first of all, which I will show you very quickly. The first one is that I wanted to get the latest Stripes book by Vera Valimaki, which is published by Liner magazine, and I pre-ordered that from Fig Tree Yarns, and I just think this is going to be a really lovely book to have, to flick through, to find a project to work on. I like the top on the front, the kind of tunic type top, and there are a couple of others that caught my eye as well, but this book is full of lovely striped projects, from shawls to sweaters to socks, and of course I had to grow my Liner publishing collection, so that meant ordering this one on pre-order. Yeah, actually she's got a really lovely shawl there, just simple stripes, but it looks really nice in that black and white photo. And a cat has joined me for the first time in the history of this podcast. What is happening? Hello, Susie. You coming to say hi? Come here. Oh, she's not happy about it, but she's right next to me, so I thought, you know what, let's grab her. Say hello to everyone. No? No, she's not very happy about it. Oh no, maybe she is. She might sit on my lap for a little bit. But this is very unusual. Usually I record a podcast and she was nowhere to be found, or asleep somewhere. So she's obviously decided she wants to come and see what I'm doing today, which is lucky for you guys, I guess. Here you go, Susie. You want to go up there? All right. Say hi. Okay, I think she's decided to settle down, so I might have to pause for a bit and then come back to this once she's decided to move, because all you can see is, well, I suppose you can still see me, but she's sitting on my makeshift camera stand at the moment. So yeah, that was a bit unusual for the podcast, for my cat to be interfering, but there we go. So I was talking about the Stripes book by Vera Valimaki, which I have now added to my collection of Liner publications. I'm looking forward to flicking through this and getting some inspiration and making some of these beautiful, beautiful outfits and accessories that she has in the book. And there's just a whole load of really nice simple stripes, and I'm definitely one for blocks of colour, even though I like this kind of yoke detail. I don't like anything that's kind of massively elaborate, so you know, some simple stripes are really lovely in my mind anyway. There's a couple of the things, so a lovely simple striped sweater there, you can see, and then yeah, the picture from the front as well, of the kind of tunic top. And there's some socks as well, which look really cool because they're kind of not the same. They're fraternal twins. Is that right? Is that the right saying? I'm not sure. But basically they're kind of opposites. So one has a white cuff and the other has a red cuff, which I think is really lovely as an idea. Just simple stripy socks. Oh, and they're called Annie. A-N-N-I rather than A-N-N-I-E. So I'll have to make those one day. Yeah, and there's stuff like this really kind of cool long sweater dress that I'd be quite interested in making, but might take me a really long time. But yeah, kind of tunic length. I think that looks really cool with just some blocks of colour. Another picture over there. Because that's the sort of thing I feel like I could probably wear for work as well. Like, it's smart enough that that I could wear it for work if it had kind of neutral colours. And then yeah, there's stuff like this, which is actually more of a kind of brioche shawl, but the stripes are in the brioche, I guess, which is really lovely too. But yeah. Yeah, I'm really looking forward to flicking through this this evening, and kind of curling up on the sofa and having a good look. As I was missing one of the books myself already, I thought I would order that at the same time, and that is 52 Weeks of Shawls. So I actually bought this for a friend as a gift when it was originally released, but as I've got 52 Weeks of Socks, I thought I have to actually have this one as well. And again, there are some beautiful, beautiful shawl designs in here. The reason I was kind of erring on the side of not getting this one is because if my friend had it, I didn't really need it. And I have another shawl book that I need to work through before I get onto this one, which is Shawls by Melanie Berg. So I'd like to do some of the shawls out of that first. But there are some absolutely gorgeous shawls in here. For example, I think this one was one by Lerga again from Fibre Tales, in 3 colours, which is beautiful. And yeah, again, a simple striped one. Apparently stripes are my thing at the moment. Oops, I'll try and hide that. Yeah, looking really lovely there. And as usual, the photography in both these books is amazing. Plus you get 52 patterns in this one for I don't know how much, but I thought I might as well, whilst I was buying the stripes book, also get the shawls book at the same time to save on shipping. And I used Fig Tree Yarns, which is actually based in Jersey, for both of these books. Along with that, I thought I would buy one skein of yarn, and I actually opted to get something which is quite out of my comfort zone, to be honest. So I thought, as I've heard a lot of people talking about this, I would get a nightshades yarn. This is American Cormo and wool spun in the USA, and I believe it's something like, oh no, it's DK weight yarn. This colour is static and it's very, very dark, but I don't use much dark yarn, and I thought I would make a hat or something out of this. It is so, so soft. I expected it to feel more like Gilliatt, but it is much, much softer in the skein. And again, it has that similar variation of the kind of more organic yarns where you've got not just a pure colour, but the way that it's been spun, you've got lights and darks kind of popping out of there. But yeah, it's almost a black yarn, so I'm not going to be able to see much, but I might actually make myself a hat. Haven't done that for a while. I'm thinking something really simple, like the Pearl Soho simple ribbed hat that I've been making occasionally, just in this, just to make a really perfect hat, kind of simple staple for my accessories collection that I would love to wear. So that is most of my acquisitions. The other thing that I have been forgetting to say is that I actually subscribed to the Knitter earlier this year, so I now have 3 issues, and honestly, some of the patterns that they release as well are absolutely incredible. So I'll just show you issue 169, which is the Erica Knight special, just for one particular pattern, well actually a couple, because you know I just saw this and this is absolutely my jam, and I can't believe I still don't have a cabled sweater. I will make one soon, I will, I swear. But this is Broch, B-R-O-C-H, by Sarah Hatton. And the other one I wanted to show you, let's find it. I should really put post-its or something in here. Aha, there we go. Is Sea Cross, which is another colourwork sweater, but I just love it. I really want to make that at some point. It is a yoke sweater by Becky Baker. I'm just going to check what you need. Oh, so it's made in the Fiberco Law, so DK weight yarn. It is on 3.75 and 4mm circular needles. So yeah, I could quite easily knit that. I could probably dye myself some yarn to knit it, to be honest. Yeah, DK weight colourwork sweater, looks pretty awesome. So yeah, I spotted that and thought that looks amazing. I really want to knit that. But there's loads of good patterns in here. Like I've said before, they don't have like the level of artistry that something like Liner magazine has, but the patterns are fantastic, and for the price you get quite a lot for your money, to be honest. So yeah, here's another one called a set of socks called Freeze, which are by Bronna Miskelly. So yeah, I'm gathering these up. I think it was on a deal when I purchased the subscription, so it was a really good value for the year. And I actually really wanted this pattern in the summer because I really like the kind of stripes, the striped top. And so that wasn't the first one I got. I got the Autumn Textures edition, and then this one, which is the Erica Knight one, and it's focusing on colour work and accessories. So yeah, highly recommend looking into that, because the issues are $6.99 each, but ultimately that's, you know, you get quite a lot of patterns in there, plus a load of articles. And I always like reading articles about knitting and different things. And yeah, that's what, the same price as one jumper pattern maybe, $6.99, and you're getting loads in these. So yeah, I occasionally buy them from my supermarket when I see a cover that I like, but now I've got a subscription, it'll be great to receive them every so often through the letterbox. So yeah, I'll show you some more when they do come through, and let you know if there's any patterns that I spot that I really want to knit. So continuing on, I talk a little bit about sewing now. So last time I mentioned that I had been sewing another quilt, and this is going to be a simple patchwork squares quilt. I got some Peter Rabbit fabric and I have a quilt top. So let me make sure this is the right way up, because the rabbits, I managed to actually get them all to stand up the right way. So here we go. So yeah, I hope that gives a bit of a nice overview of the whole quilt. It's got a kind of diamond shape in the middle, but then otherwise alternating colours and squares. And this was a fat quarter set that I bought from Love Crafts online, just to use for this. And what I am really happy with on these is that most of the corners, if I show you a close-up, are perfectly aligned. Okay, some of them are slightly out, but what I have been doing is, if I show you the wrong side, this is why I haven't finished it yet, because I can show you the inside then, is that I've been ironing the seams one way on the top row and then the other way on the second row, so that I can join them up really easily, because then they kind of butt against each other when you're sewing them, because you're sewing them fronts facing, so like that. So when you do that, you can kind of push down and they'll kind of push against each other really nicely, and then you can double check by just lifting once you've got them pinned, to see that they are nicely aligned. And I believe I learned that technique from Melanie Ham from her videos. I'll link to her again in the description below, but absolutely fantastic tutorial videos for making a basic patchwork quilt. And I highly recommend, if you're getting into that sort of thing, do watch her, because those videos were so helpful for me with my first one. And I'm learning things for the next one as well, so that's good. But yeah, really pleased with how this is going, really enjoying the process. And what I'm going to do is do a border, I think in white or cream, and then edge with pink, and the backing will also be pink on the back of the wadding. But yeah, should be really lovely. I was considering buying some more fabric just to get another yellow for the edging, but I'm not 100% sure it's needed. So obviously I don't like buying things when I don't need to, so I'll double check what I've got and ask other people for their opinions as well, just to make sure it looks okay with that cream or white that I have available. So yeah, I do love this fabric, and I think it'll be perfect for the little girl this is going to when she's born, which should be next week. So fingers crossed for the parents that that is kind of an easy-ish process. Not that childbirth can ever be easy, but there you go. So that will be on their way to them once I've finished. I'll see if I can't show you in the next episode the finished item. I will make sure that I've got a picture available to talk about, but I might well have sent it off already. Finally, I did mention that I wanted to talk about my 52 weeks of hats challenge. I have got a bit slower towards the end of the year, I suppose because I've got so many other bigger projects going on at the moment and things that have time limits. So the shawl is for a Christmas present, the sweater I'd also like to give my husband for Christmas, the blanket is just gonna take really long, so I keep trying to pick it up and knit it, and I seem to have abandoned all other projects that I already had on the go now. So I have got a set of 15 hats that I have now listed on eBay. I will pop the link into the description below for you, and hopefully that those hats will sell in the next 7 days. I chose eBay because they have charity listings already that are really easy to set up, and I have already donated 3 to a local charity of mine, a children's charity that needed hats to keep children warm this winter. And that is pretty much it. So thank you so much for watching, and I will see you again in a couple of weeks. Bye.